3. Caitlin Clark continues to cement herself in the record books. She is the one, the only draw in the WNBA. She is the needle mover. She is the rising tide that continues to lift all boats. Emmanuel Ajo, how you like them apples?
That is a big claim to open with. The one and only draw. And normally I'd tell you to slow down, except this time the number
so much to me. We start with this Sunday's game. NBC and Peacock deliver most watched WNBA game of the 2026 season. Fever Aces on Sunday Night Basketball. 2.64 million viewers on NBC and Peacock in prime time. Most watched WNBA regular season Sunday game since, wait for it, 1998, folks.
2.64 million viewers on NBC and Peacock in prime time. Most watched WNBA regular season Sunday game since sit with that year for a second. 1998 is the league's second season ever. Back when the WNBA was a summer novelty, NBC was still figuring out how to schedule. 28 years of Sunday afternoons and Sunday nights, and none of them touched this one. And the reason that number is even more loaded than it sounds has nothing to do with Caitlin Clark's box score. It has to do with who was not standing on the other side of the floor. Hold that thought, because it comes back later and it changes the whole argument.
Now, what makes this even more impressive, and I gotta say this right now, this is bigger than the pay. The fact that this is bigger, and I want to say that we did have a Sunday Angel Reese Caitlin Clark matchup. I could be wrong, or maybe that Sunday matchup last year, maybe Caitlin Clark missed that matchup. But the fact that this is the highest rating and it didn't involve an Angel Reese team, that shows that we're still good.
This is the part that should make the league office nervous and thrilled at the same time. For 2 years, the counter-argument has been simple, and it's been effective. People will tell you it isn't Clark, it's the matchups, it's the rivalry, it's Angel Reese, it's the draft class, it's the storyline, not the player. And that argument had teeth, because almost every record-breaking window until now came packaged with a marquee name across from her. This one didn't. Fever and Aces.
Because usually we would see the bump with an Angel Reese. We would see a slight bump with the Paige Beckers. But the fact that neither of them were standing across from Caitlin Clark on the court, that speaks volumes, folks. That lets us all know Caitlin Clark is the needle mover. And it doesn't matter who's across from her. Huge.
That's the whole ballgame in about 20 seconds. The bump theory required a second name. Take the second name away, and by the logic of the people making that argument, the number should have sagged. It went the other direction. Now, to be fair to the other side, and I want to be fair here, Las Vegas is not a nobody. Aja Wilson is a former most valuable player, and one of the biggest stars in the sport. So the honest version of this is not that Clark drew 2.6 million by herself in a vacuum. It's that the Fever's ceiling no longer depends on a rivalry storyline being handed to them by the schedule makers. That's a different and frankly bigger kind of power.
Huge number. Then last Wednesday's Fever Sparks matchup on July 8th averaged 1.04 million viewers, becoming USA Sports' most watched WNBA game on record and up 149% versus 2025's regular season average cable viewership.
And then, one day earlier, the second number, 1.04 million on USA Network for Fever and Sparks on July 8th. Most watched WNBA game on record in that network's history, and up 149% against the 2025 regular season cable average. That's not a nudge. That's the cable audience for this league, roughly 2.5 times what it was averaging a year ago, in one window for one team.
Now, this is the game that broke records here. The Sunday game, most watched regular season Sunday game since 1998. This game was the first game in WNBA history that had a window that started at 10 p.m. and still eclipsed 1 million viewers.
10 p.m. Eastern. That is the detail everybody is going to skip past, and it's the most impressive thing in this entire ratings release. 10 o'clock is where television goes to die. It's after the East Coast has checked out, after families with kids are done, after the second screen has already won. Networks put 10 p.m. windows on properties they're contractually obligated to air, not properties they're trying to grow. Every league on earth fights this, and a WNBA regular season game just cleared 1 million viewers in that slot for the first time in league history.
This is the game that started at 10 p.m. and was still able to eclipse over 1 million viewers. Back-to-back big numbers for the Indiana Fever as far as what the networks want, what the networks want to see. And
back-to-back. Wednesday night on cable, Sunday night in prime time. 2 different networks, 2 different distribution models, 2 different audiences, and the same team in the middle of both. That's the thing about ratings. 1 big number is a story. 2 big numbers in 5 days is a pattern. And patterns are what get written into contracts.
that NBC sport, there's no playing make-believe. There's no, oh, if this was the ratings last year, there's none of that. That's a monster number. That's a monster. Even last year, I don't have the math in front. Even last year, that's doing like 2.4, 2.35. This 2.64 is huge.
He's making a point there that matters more than the excitement in his voice suggests. There is no adjusting, no grading on a curve, no comparing it to what the league used to do. 2.64 is a monster number in absolute terms. Put it next to almost anything else on television, on a July Sunday night, and it holds up. And July is the deadest month on the American sports calendar. No football, no college anything. Baseball in its slow middle. This is the window where the WNBA has always been offered up as filler, and it just delivered a genuine primetime audience. And here's the number that turns this from a good night into a leverage play.
And then you take a look at the press release, 2.64 million viewers average, but a peak of 2.8 million from 10:30 to 10:45. So what's that, third quarter-ish? As the Fever are going on the run, they're peaking from 10:30 to 10:45. Most watched WNBA regular season Sunday game since 1998, and second most watched WNBA regular season game since 2000.
A peak of 2.8 million from 10:30 to 10:45. That's a quarter to 11 at night, and instead of bleeding out, the audience was still climbing. That is the single healthiest sign in this entire report, because it tells you people weren't tuning in out of curiosity and leaving at halftime. They stayed for the finish. Advertisers pay for the back half, not the tip-off. Second most watched WNBA regular season game since the year 2000, on top of the Sunday record. So we're not talking about a technicality inside a narrow category. We're talking about a game that lands near the top of a 26-year list.
Take a look at some of the other ratings. We have ABC, Fever Wings, 2.5. That's with Paige Beckers on the other side. Did better. You have ABC 1.7. That's with Angel Reese on the other side. This game did better. You have Fever Fire on CBS. That's with nobody on the other side. Fever Liberty 2.55. That's with Sabrina. That's with New York. Brianna Stewart on the other side.
Now watch the comparison shelf he's putting together, because this is where the argument stops being about one game. Fever and Wings on ABC, 2.5 million, with Paige Beckers on the other side. Fever and Sky on ABC, 1.7, with Angel Reese on the other side. Fever and Liberty, 2.55, with Sabrina Ionescu and Brianna Stewart and the reigning champions from New York. Fever and Fire on CBS, no marquee name across the floor at all. Different opponents, different networks, different times, different rivalry temperatures, and the floor barely moves. That is the definition of a constant, and in television, the constant is the asset.
Folks, if you take a look at the Fever games, those numbers are still the big numbers. Those are still the real deal Holyfield numbers. Fever Liberty 2.5, Aces Sky on CBS 1.5. 1 million more people tuned in to watch Fever Liberty than tuned in to watch Aces Sky. 1.3 million more people tuned in to watch Fever Wings than tuned in to watch Mercury Aces.
This is where it gets uncomfortable if you've been arguing the other side. Aces and Sky on CBS, 1.5 million. That's the reigning champions franchise, and one of the most talked about young players in the sport, and it drew about 1 million fewer viewers than a Fever game. The USA Network comparison is even sharper. Aces and Sun was that network's WNBA debut, and did 529,000. The Fever showed up on the same network, and roughly doubled it. Same channel, same league, same summer. The variable is the team.
700,000 people tuned in to watch USA Fever Sparks. than Ace's son, which was the USA debut. Prime debut, 529,000. Fever Dream, 400,000 more people. Fever Sky, 200,000 more people. That's with Skylar Diggins on the other side. Folks, Caitlin Clark is the needle mover.
400,000 more than a Fever Dream window. 200,000 more when Skylar Diggins is on the other side. Line them all up and you get the same picture from a dozen different angles. But I want to push back on the framing for a second because needle mover gets thrown around like it's the end of the conversation, and it isn't. The interesting question isn't whether Clark moves the needle, that's settled. The interesting question is what the league does with a single point of failure. Because a business where one player accounts for that much of the audience is not a healthy business, it's a leveraged one. Ask any network that built a decade around one quarterback what happens the year he gets hurt, and we already ran that experiment. This season and last, when Clark missed games, those fever windows did not hold these numbers. Everyone knows it. Nobody at the league office wants to say it into a microphone.
Yeah, big numbers, big numbers. Especially when you compare it to the rest of the league, and that trounces any narrative that Caitlin Clark's not the draw. Caitlin Clark's not the main attraction, the main star. Indiana Fever game makes USA sports history as Caitlin Clark returns.
So here's the payoff I promised you at the top, and it's not really about Caitlin Clark at all. Remember why the "it's the matchups" argument existed in the first place? It wasn't just fans arguing on the internet. That argument was load-bearing. It was the polite way of saying the growth belongs to the league, not to one player, and therefore the money belongs to the league. The $11 billion media deal, the expansion fees, the new franchises, all of that gets justified as a collective rise, a rising tide, everybody's boat. The moment a Fever game breaks a 28-year Sunday record with no rivalry attached at 10:30 at night, that framing gets a lot harder to hold. And that has consequences at a bargaining table, because this is happening while the players and the league are still fighting over how the new money gets divided. Numbers like these don't just make headlines, they become exhibits.
According to USA Sports, the game averaged 1.04 million viewers and became the most watched WNBA game on record in the network's history. The viewership was also up 149% compared to the cable average in 2025. Furthermore, it's the first time in WNBA history that a game with a 10 o'clock p.m. start time has averaged 1 million viewers. The numbers speak volumes about the immense popularity of Clark and the Fever. The team has been setting viewership records ever since the All-Star Guard's arrival in 2024, and it's unlikely the numbers will drop anytime soon, considering the massive following they have built over the past couple years.
Notice the language in that write-up. Setting viewership records ever since her arrival in 2024 and unlikely to drop anytime soon. That second half is a prediction, not a fact, and predictions in television have a bad track record. Novelty audiences do fade. Rookie curiosity fades. What we're watching now, 2+ years in, is the harder test whether this is a habit or a moment. The evidence so far says habit. A curiosity audience doesn't show up at 10 p.m. on a Wednesday for a regular season game against the Sparks. A curiosity audience doesn't peak in the fourth quarter. Those are the behaviors of people who have organized their week around a team. And the wider point, the one that survives whichever side of this you're on, is that the WNBA now has proof that a genuinely appointment viewing product exists inside it. That proof was theoretical for 28 years. It isn't anymore. The question is whether the league builds a second one, a third one, a fourth one, or spends the next 2 years arguing about who deserves credit for the—
We got to change that from the All-Star Guards to the All-WNBA Guard, Caitlin Clark. Put some respect on her name, gosh darn it. Put some respect on her name. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like the video, hype the video, subscribe to the channel. That would mean so much to me. The venue is open tonight. Appreciate all the support we've been getting over there on the TV channel. Appreciate all the support.
Respect is one word for it. Leverage is another. And leverage is the one that actually shows up on a balance sheet. So let me hand it to you, and I want a real answer, not a comfortable one. 2.64 million on Sunday. 1.04 million at 10 o'clock at night. No rivalry, no marquee name across the floor, no help from the schedule. Is that a league that finally arrived? Or is that one player carrying a league that hasn't figured out what happens when she sits down? You can't pick both. Tell me which one you're taking in the comments and tell me why, because the ones that make me rethink my own take are the ones I read twice. If this broke something down in a way you hadn't heard yet, hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.